Welcome back. I'm your host, Sosaia. I have one guest today. Her name is
Shylee Moxey.
And this is the Mix Wash Podcast. Welcome back. Hi, who are you?
I'm Shylee Moxey.
And who are you?
I'm quiet, I'm reserved, I'm intrinsically motivated, and I'm a very dedicated person.
Dope. How was your week?
It was great. How was yours?
I need more detail than that. What did you do this week?
Well, it's only the second day of the week.
Third.
No, it's Tuesday.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Sunday is the end of the week.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Nobody
Sunday
can tell me differently.
is the end of the previous week, not the beginning of the current week.
But it's going pretty good because we don't have school since it's Thanksgiving break.
Facts. Today is Friday.
Today is Friday.
Technically, because it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just, okay, my family doesn't really come together for Christmas because, I'm the youngest out of all of my cousins, and they're all in their 20s and 30s, and they all have their own families now.
Oh, okay, so that's kind of complex.
Yeah, so we have very, separated Christmases, and my brother and sister have a different dad.
Okay.
So they have to go with their dad some years and this and that, and for Thanksgiving, that's, the only holiday that we all come together. Because it's, smaller than Christmas.
That's the most cutest thing I've ever heard. Because I thought your reason was going to be I love turkeys, and I was going to be you are garbage. But I'm glad that the reason isn't I just really like the way the turkey and the ham and the stuff, lean, green, potato, tomato. Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't your answer.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, Thanksgiving dinner is much better than Christmas dinner, too.
We disagree on that, but that's okay. Keep moving. What? Hold up. No. We got to jump into that. What do you eat on Christmas that makes it less good than Thanksgiving?
Okay, so we have prime rib on Christmas, which, prime rib is fire. But personally, I'm more of a turkey and ham person than a steak person.
Okay. This makes a lot of sense. Because how tall are you?
Gravy. I'm 5'7".
I'm 6 feet tall, and I weigh 200 pounds. I won't make you disclose your weight.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm, not massive.
Oh, okay. See, so how much do you weigh?
125.
Exactly. See, that's the difference between turkey and ham and beef.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just a huge dude, so I eat huge animals.
Hey, listen. Pigs can be big, too.
Yo,
you ever seen a fat-ass pig?
Yeah, I see him walking down the street all the time.
Yeah, me too. On little leashes.
Wait a second, what? On leashes?
Yeah, I saw that in Vegas a few weeks ago, and I went. It was Halloween, and it was down on Fremont Street.
Okay.
And this lady, she dressed up as a farmer, and she had a pig on a leash walking down Fremont Street.
A real pig?
A real pig.
Real pig.
Real pig.
Dude, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Pigs are kind of gross, though.
Yeah. I mean, it was clean. It didn't just come out of, the mud.
Okay.
It was all pink and shit.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. Well, Fremont Street is amazing. What do you think about Vegas?
Personally, I don't like it that much, just because, for softball, we go to Vegas all the time.
Okay.
And so I've been there so much, and I've done everything.
Okay.
Everything on the Strip, Fremont Street, the Stratosphere roller coaster, all that, and it's to the point where it's
You've been there too many times to enjoy it?
Can't drink, can't gamble, can't go to the strip clubs.
That's the three main things you do in Vegas.
Exactly.
Yeah. Did I show you what I did in Vegas?
No.
Oh, well, I had a fun time. We'll talk about that in a bit. First thing, I wanted to talk about it anyways, but softball. How old were you when you started playing softball?
I was 7 or 8.
Did you, I guess it's more important now, do you want to be a professional softball player?
No, because that's not really much of a thing. They just started making pro leagues, and it's so small that, the best of the best go there. So if you go to, Oklahoma or Washington or these big D1 schools, you can maybe make it to the pros. And even then, it's, you have to be really, really good. Okay,
so are you suggesting that... All right, you were talking about getting into the pro leagues before we were rudely interrupted by an Amazon truck. What about getting into the pro leagues is so hard in softball?
Just because there's, not a lot of them. So they find, the best of the best in the United States and make teams out of that. And, all the girls that are on it, it's, Defensive Player of the Year 4 years in a row, Gatorade Player of the Year, the best. So
That's tough. That's tough. But I mean, you don't think that's you?
no. Straight up, it's not. Like, I'm not gonna like say that I'm bad or anything, but like,
Well, I mean,
I'm not.
You are a college athlete.
I am a college
You are a
athlete.
D2 college athlete.
Yeah, but that's the point. D2. Only 17% of softball players go D1. That's a really small amount.
Okay, Russell Westbrook is an NBA player now. He's an all-star, if you will, even though he's won 0 rings. He was unranked in high school, goes to a junior college, goes D3, gets recruited by a D2, goes D1, and then ends up in getting drafted by OKC.
Okay,
Is that not you? I think
honestly,
that's you, Shylee.
Okay, here's my thing. I'm not that, like... I just don't want it, really.
That's true. Okay, well, that goes to my second question, to where, like, when I asked you if you wanted to play pro softball, you already said no. Like, it wasn't something you wanted. What's your option? Like, why not pro softball?
Well, first off, they don't make any money. It's not like going into the MLB where you sign $1 million contracts.
Okay.
You make, like, as much as a teacher, maybe, which is...
That's tough
Yeah.
to play the sport that you love.
Exactly. I mean, you're still getting paid to play that sport, but it's not enough to make it worth it, and the journey to get there is so, like, intense. Like,
Okay.
playing Division I softball at a high level is... You wake up at 5 a.m, you go to weights, you go to your classes, you go to 3-hour team practice, then 2-hour individual practice, then you go home, do homework, go to bed, wake up the next morning and do it again. And that's not what I want for, like, my college experience.
Okay.
Like, the school that I'm going to, the coaches are in their 20s. They're very young, and they made it very clear that they want you to have a college experience.
And not just be an athlete.
Exactly.
Okay.
And some of those bigger schools, instead of being a student athlete where student comes first, you're an athlete, and that's your job.
Okay.
And if you're not performing, it doesn't matter what your grades are. And there are some schools, like nursing majors. They're very hard to get, and it's very time consuming. And there are coaches that'll tell you, like, you either go into nursing or you don't play softball, or you change your major and I'll keep your scholarship. But they'll drop your scholarship.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough. So it's like they'll really just ruin your college experience and prioritize your softball.
Exactly. And for me, like, softball's not, you can't do that forever. Like, even if you do make it to the pros, at some point your body's going to give out. And then you're fucked.
Facts.
Whereas you're going to college to get an education so that you can have a career and a life and be able to do things after softball's over, because it's just a sport.
I like your realistic approach to life there, because there are kids, not that I'm saying that this is a bad thing. If your love of the sport is so deep, obviously pursue that and love what you do. But there's not a lot of people who plan for, like, I'm going to dedicate every day of my life to getting good at softball. I made it to the pro leagues. I'm not really getting paid as much as I thought. And then after that, like, it's kind of over.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do after that?
That's my thing, is like, if you go into the MLB, you play until your body gives out, and you've made so much money that you can live on that for the rest of your life and not work. Whereas if you're getting paid the amount as a teacher, you're still not getting retirement because you're playing softball, not teaching.
Yeah, exactly. There's no social security for softball players.
So then you quit, and in a year, you have no income. And, like, what are you going to do then?
Yeah, you're kind of done. That's kind of tough. And I'm glad that you look at it that way. It's just safer for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my second question is, then what do you want to be?
What
are you majoring in?
Psychology.
I
want to be a therapist.
Okay.
But specifically, like, child psychology. So little kids or teenagers.
Okay,
maybe
deep
a
question.
Little bit of family psychology.
Deep question.
Mm-hmm.
Why child psychology?
Okay, well, I feel like there are kids that are raised in really, like, bad environments, and that can really screw them up in their lives later on. And if you're raised in a bad environment, that's all you know. Like, you don't know that, oh, this isn't normal. And, like,
Facts.
I feel like there should be more of a support system for kids who are like that, because right now there's not much of one. And if there is one, you have to pay a lot of money to get it.
Absolutely.
Whereas if you go through, like, there are certain agencies that you can go through that'll pay for it for you.
Okay.
And you can, like, really help kids that are in bad situations and all that.
Okay. My question is, and this is a very personal question, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Was your childhood the reason you want to help other kids?
No, I had a really, really good childhood. Like, my parents are still married. My dad is my best friend. Like, he's been the biggest role model in my life. Like, my parents are great, and I have 2 older siblings who, like, I can go to them if I need anything. It's always been that way.
Honestly adorable that, and I mean adorable in my sense, not in the traditional sense. that you just want to help kids to help kids. Is it your boyfriend's? I mean, I don't know anything about Jake's family, but is that linked to his childhood, or just it's really just out of the bigness of your heart?
Yeah, and I love kids. Like, I worked at a preschool, and it was the best thing that I did. Like, I loved my kids. And I don't know, I want to
Even the rowdy ones?
Even the rowdy ones. I had 2 2-year-olds fist fight. I'm not even joking. They fist fought. They couldn't even talk, and they fist fought.
They couldn't even talk, and they was throwing hands, son.
Yeah.
That's straight gangster.
Yeah.
That's really, those kids is from the streets.
And I know I want to work with kids, but I don't want to be a teacher. That's not my thing.
Okay. So a child psychologist.
And then you can also work with teenagers, and because teenagers have a lot of problems.
Okay, if theoretically I was the president of the United States, I could hire you as the head of, like, if there was like an organization, like, you know, bureaucracy. If there was an organization in the United States focused on the mental health of children, you would be down to head that.
Yep, I'd be head honcho of that.
That's really cool. Wow, that is very nice.
Thank you.
Okay, that's really beautiful. Did you spend a lot of time outside as a kid?
Yeah, I did.
Is that like camping every once in a while? Like, is that from your father? How was the outdoors introduced into your childhood?
We did camp a lot. It was like every weekend. Like, I met my best friend Kyla when we were camping. We've been best friends for like 14 years.
Okay, cool.
Let's see, it was camping. We went skiing a lot when I was younger. So, like,
that's cool. I've never been skiing. What is skiing like?
Well, I don't know. I snowboard now.
Okay, well, still, I don't care if it's 2 sticks or 1 stick that I'm standing on. You're standing on sticks and you're sliding down a hill.
It's good. Well, I stopped skiing when I was like 10, maybe. Okay. And I took up snowboarding because my brother snowboarded, and I was like, I have to be like him.
You're like, I gotta be like my big bro. He's so cool.
And then I actually fractured my spine.
Oh, well.
Snowboarding. Yeah. I was in powder, and my front edge got caught, and I face planted, and then my board went over my head, and I did a scorpion and stood up, and face planted again.
Ouchie.
Yeah, and so I fractured my spine, and that messed me up for softball for a year. It's still not like fully healed, but it's to the point where it doesn't hurt as bad anymore. And then I stopped snowboarding for like 5-ish years, and picked it up again 2 years ago, and I'm going on Saturday actually.
To go snowboarding?
To go snowboarding with Kyla.
That is amazing. Hey, what is Kyla's last name?
Olsen.
Oh, her. Okay, cool.
She's dating, you know Caden Diamond?
Yes.
His cousin Balin. She's dating him.
I don't know his cousin, but I know him and I know her. So now I just got to meet the middle link there. Yeah. That's really cool. Is that your favorite activity when you go outside?
In the winter, yeah.
In the winter, what do you do during like summer? Like, what did your dad or your parents have you do when you went camping? Because I know like every time I've been camping, it was always fishing or just playing hide and go seek with all the cousins. So. Well,
we hunt a lot. It's a big hunting.
You hunt?
I do.
Okay. What do you kill?
Deer.
Deer? That's delicious. Okay.
I put in for deer, antelope, elk, bear, bighorn sheep.
Have you eaten bear?
Yes, I have. It's disgusting.
It's gross?
Yeah, don't.
Okay,
let
me write that down. Bear is a no-no.
Yeah, no, it's not good. Neither is mountain lion.
Neither is mountain lion? You've eaten mountain lion?
Well, my dad shot one, and this guy was like, you can make jerky out of it. Like, do you want to try it?
Mountain lion jerky? Like, that sounds like like we have these things called crackheads in the hood, right? Like, you have these things called crackheads, and sometimes they'll come up to you and be like, yo, you got to try this thing. Like, you just got to try it. And sometimes the only way to not get this crackhead to be angry is to just be like, yeah, dog, look, just give me a bite of that. And that's what happened to your dad. That's the hunting version of a crackhead. And you got gypped into trying some mountain lion jerky.
We did. We also got gypped into trying some alligator.
Was that okay?
It wasn't bad, actually.
So alligator is better than bear?
Yes.
Okay, significantly. Where did you kill an alligator?
In Florida. That was the first thing I ever killed.
Was an alligator in Florida?
Yes.
Are you an interstate family, if you will? Why were you guys out there?
My dad was partnering with this company. Ended up being a fraud.
Oh, damn.
And they paid for us to go down to Florida so he could go to a bunch of meetings or something.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Cute. That sounds like an excuse to cheat on your mother, but
well, she was there. She was there.
That's just an example of what I thought. I know if I was a woman, right, and my husband was like, "Yeah, company's flying me out to Florida so I could go to like some lunch meetings or something,"
You'd be like,
I'm be like, yeah. So these texts you've been getting from Shanisha,
yeah, like what's that about?
it says meet me in Florida for some lunch meetings. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, if I might ask, because I'm very intrigued, what does bear taste like? Garbage is what you said, but
you ever, bears eat out of your garbage.
that is true. So I would assume they kind of taste like doo doo.
I don't really know how to explain it. It's very tough.
Okay, so you got to chew it a lot.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know.
You got to bring me some the next time y'all kill a bear.
Yeah,
just so I can try it. I know that it's going to
bad.
be terrible, but also you think beef isn't that cool. So
I like beef, but I prefer other things over beef.
Okay, I'll accept that. That's really cool. Wonderful. How do you feel about the Texas abortion bill?
That was such a segue.
I know, what a segue, right?
I think it's wrong.
Okay.
Straight up.
So, yeah, and I'm not sure how this can happen because, okay, let's start this with a preface. I do not recognize myself with a political party.
Okay.
I'm not a centrist by any means because they don't really get anything done. But, and that's a bad generalization, but I mean, typically, centrists aren't focused on really progressing the world. They're just focused on showing you the justice that lies in the middle. But really, I'm always on the side that I think is right. And I think that justice lies on, depending on the argument. And I talked about this on episode 13. I don't think politics is a spectrum. I think it's an ocean. Okay, I called it the ocean concept, but we think of politics as like a river, right? There's the east side of the river and there's the west side of the river. And everything on that spectrum is still on the river. There's nothing outside of the river. I think politics is more like an ocean. You can be on the east side of the ocean, you can be on the west side of the ocean, but you can also be on the south side of the ocean.
Yeah.
You can also be at the bottom of the ocean. You can also be flying above the ocean. It's not, I do not think politics in any ways is two-dimensional, and that's evidenced by the fact that there are, like France, I believe France has like 36 political parties.
Wow. That's crazy.
And the way they do their politics is like you get this thing in the mail and it shows you the ideals of every party. And you just pick the one that you recognize with the most.
Yeah.
I think it's bad to have two.
Yeah, because that's very like one or the other. And you might, like, personally, I recognize more with the Republican Party, but I have a lot of Democratic views.
Exactly.
And so it's like, where do I lie?
See, this is why I wanted to ask you this question, because it appears to be a very Republican thing to be like for the promotion of these abortion laws. But most women, I would hope, want the right to have an abortion.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it's cool to take that away from somebody, especially in the cases that they're letting pregnancies go through. Like an 11-year-old girl in Texas can't buy cigarettes, she can't buy alcohol, she can't even walk into like certain buildings, but she is required to carry out a full-term pregnancy regardless of rape or incest. And
let's be real, like if you're an 11-year-old girl, your body's not developed at all, and you're expected to birth a child, that like could kill you. And
yeah,
doctors are trained, like if it comes down to the mom or the baby, you always choose the mom. So at that point, what was the point? Yeah,
exactly. And in these scenarios, the doctors could be sued. And there's another problem with that. Do you think that it's okay to have people police other people in the manner that the law suggests?
What do you mean?
I don't know if you're informed about this, but in Texas, the way it works is if you know somebody that is thinking about getting an abortion or got an abortion and they're a Texan, you can sue them for $10,000.
I think that's wrong.
I think this leads to like witch hunts, right?
Yeah.
Because if I don't like you, I could just be like, Shylee got an abortion and she owes me $10,000.
Yeah. Like that's, I don't agree with that at all. And like, I don't even know if I have anything to back that up. I just think that's wrong.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you need to back up the fact that, okay, let's talk about this. I'll play devil's advocate.
Okay.
Ladies should not be able to get abortions because the baby has the right to its life.
I mean, It depends when you think the life begins. And that's very, like, dependent on the person.
Okay. I think that the baby is alive after 6 weeks. Isn't that like just wrong? Like it's literally a tangerine.
Mm-hmm.
Between you and a tangerine, I'm not picking the tangerine.
Yeah, right.
Like I just don't see how you can. Okay, and they say, well, then oh, you're fine. They say like be responsible, like use protection or stuff like that. Okay, here's the thing. Fine, outlaw abortion for irresponsible kids, people who can provide for the baby, but like rape.
Yeah, no, that's a different story because, okay, look, if I were to get raped and then be forced to keep the baby, when I have that child, every time I would look at it, I would see my rapist, and I would be a terrible mother. Like, that's awful to say, but, like, I would be because I'd be like, oh my God, you're here because somebody raped me. Like, that's terrible. And I would probably resent my child for that, and they don't deserve that.
Nor do you deserve to have the child of a rapist. I mean, have you heard? I mean, Fitz talked about it, but there was a man who raped a child and then sued the mother in order to be able to visit his child.
Yeah.
What is that? How is that allowed?
That shouldn't be because, like, he shouldn't even be walking the streets. Let's be real.
Absolutely. Okay. So that's another thing. A man can rape a woman if he gets away with the rape. Like if there isn't enough evidence to convict a man of rape, he can walk the streets and not be a sex offender. Just simply accused of it, which we'll talk about getting accused of rape in a second. And then the lady who lives in Texas, presumably in this scenario, now has to have this child that is from a rape. And then he is legally allowed to sue her to see the kid, where she has to see her rapist.
And even then, I wouldn't want them to be able to see my child. Like, you raped me. How do I know you're not going to rape me? Like, he or she.
Yes, that's not something to laugh about, but I find humor in weird places. Yeah, definitely, like, don't purposefully put kids near rapists, nor let rapists around their victims. Jeez. Anyways, I'm glad we got that out of the way. Oh, do you think that these abortion laws will spread? Yes. Because Oklahoma is now trying to take away the right to an abortion.
Yeah, that's what me and Cambria did our current events on.
Oh, okay.
And, like, I didn't even realize it had spread to Oklahoma yet before I saw that.
Oh, yeah, Oklahoma's on its way.
Yeah, and I think, well, okay, if you look at, when there's an election going on, you see all the blue and red states.
Yeah.
I think it's going to spread to every single red state.
That's tough.
And I think the blue states are going to fight it way more because, like,
typically that's a liberal thing.
Yeah, yes. It is. And I think they're going to fight it more, but ultimately I think it'll end up spreading and it'll be dependent on state, which isn't going to work because if I get pregnant in Texas and I'm like, fuck, I got to have an abortion, I can go to, like,
Utah
and get an abortion.
Yeah.
Or it's just going to make it so they're way more dangerous. Coat hangers.
Yeah, oh, Jesus Christ. I don't want to put a coat hanger in myself.
Yeah, no, me either, but, like, it's still...
Because, I can get pregnant.
Yeah, right. But people are still going to have abortions if it's legal or not.
Absolutely, and I think that's... okay, well, we got to abortion, which is good. My next question is, how do you feel about drugs in that case? Because they say... Not they, but I'll play devil's advocate here. Abortion is just like cocaine. If I want to do cocaine, you should let me, and the government should be selling me cocaine because then I know that it's safe. You're not going to stop me from having this problem, but at least protect me while I have the problem. Do you think that drugs should be legal?
I think they should be legal to a point.
Okay.
Like heroin and meth. I know either way you're still going to be able to get it if you really want it, but I don't think it should be provided to you because that's what, like, heroin's one of those things that you can't just quit.
Absolutely.
And that'll, like, mess up your life forever.
Absolutely.
And I think, like, marijuana 100% should be legal.
Absolutely.
It's weed.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that big of a deal. But there are some of the more, like, hardcore drugs, like fentanyl, should not be legal.
Absolutely. That's just killing people.
Exactly. And I think the drugs that are have super high, like, overdose rates shouldn't be provided to you by the government.
Okay, but other stuff?
Yeah. Like,
should be okay.
Yeah, the ones that are, like, it might mess you up later or whatever, but it's not going to kill you if you take
this, and that's something that you experiment with.
Yeah.
I'll have you back on the podcast again to talk about drugs, because there's a doctor who has a doctorate who used to be a crack addict.
Interesting.
And he is a large advocate for the legalization of drugs, simply because if the government were to provide them, like, ODs wouldn't be a thing anymore. And you could also have clinics where, like, well, maybe not providing drugs to everybody, but if somebody comes in and they're like, man, I just did fentanyl and I'm going to die, like, there should be a clinic to help that person get off of that.
100%, because the problem now is people will be like, oh my God, I'm having an overdose right now, but I just did a really illegal drug. Like, I'm going to go to jail.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not going to go into the hospital, and then they end up dying either way. So there should be somewhere you can go where you know you can get help, and there's not going to be consequences because you screwed up.
Cool. Awesome. That's wonderful. Let's talk about this. I don't think anybody should be generalized, period. Regardless of your political party. We have a mutual person, friend, who likes to accuse the right wing of being like, yo, that person, I almost revealed their gender, that person will just be like, well, they're all crazy and they're all stupid, and if you're a Republican, you're just garbage.
Like, at one
that's
point,
not cool.
I recall them saying that the Republican Party is like a different breed of psychopath, and it's like,
not all of them.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, of course, there's gonna be psychopaths.
Yeah, there's gonna be extremists on both sides.
Exactly, that's what I said.
That's not like a one-sided thing. And like, I'm Republican. I know there are people that in the right wing that's like, you really went way too far with that.
Let me ask you this: how do you feel about January 6th?
January 6th?
Yeah.
About January 6th.
The storm on the Capitol.
Oh Lord, I don't even know. I think that was really aggressive and very unnecessary.
Yeah, don't you think it could have been done in a different manner?
Yeah, because like we have the right to peaceful protest and all that, and that wasn't peaceful.
So you are in agreement with me that was not peaceful?
That was not peaceful. And people are saying like, oh, the cops, like, they totally like antagonized everybody and like caused that riot. But like, I don't care who started it. There shouldn't have been a riot to begin with.
Exactly. And would we be in agreement in saying that there is video evidence of it not being peaceful? And that, okay, we won't talk about the government picking and choosing which riots to defend against, but there wasn't a lot of police there.
No.
There was like 4 dudes in every video I saw for every 2,000 people there. Yeah. Which is tough. And not, I mean, of course, we're speaking about this and people died, so my condolences to those families. And full respect to any one of those families. How do you feel about punishing those at January 6th?
I think there were way too many people there.
To be able to punish all of them? Exactly.
And, you know, jails are already overcrowded and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
So, like, how are you going to be like, you did this, and you did something a little bit less aggressive, so we're going to punish you and not you, even though it's the same thing, just a little less aggressive. Like, you can't figure out who did what in order to punish everybody, and you can't punish everyone there.
True.
It's like, if one person walks out of the school, you can suspend them. If everybody walks out of the school, what are you going to do?
That's very facts. That is very facts. But do you think that's right? Like, if 50 people commit a crime, it's much harder to convict all of them. But don't they all still deserve to be convicted? Assuming that they all perform the same crime.
I don't know.
You don't know about that? Okay, well, I'll give my opinion. So, justice doesn't care whether or not you were around 3,000 people when you did it. And therefore, I don't think justice should leave based on simple numbers.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if I killed somebody on January 6th, and 50 people helped me kill that person, we should all be charged for murder.
Yeah.
Because we all did it. Regardless of the difficulty of how hard that crime was to commit, right?
Right. And like Willow said the other day in class, like, you can't pick and choose with the law. It's everybody or nobody.
Absolutely. And that's the way America functions. And I think that's the way it's supposed to function. Now, whether or not we perform the drawing of that line properly is a problem that America will face till the end of time. But I think that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
To at least know that we're drawing the line and redrawing the line and then redrawing the line again to find where we can put everybody and nobody. That's good. All right, that's awesome. I think we'll move to Kyle Rittenhouse.
Okay.
I know neither of us. I did some research, and I'll do my best to give you my summary. By the way, my facts come from the Associated Press, which, as we all know, is right in the middle. They always just release just the facts.
Right.
They don't publish, like, there's not a leftist journalist writing it, which I'll mention this very shortly. But both parties like to look at just the crazy examples on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I watched Fox News for a good 4 hours and I wanted to die.
Oh my God.
Because they just like show clips of crazy, like, okay, so they'll show up to a Black Lives Matter protest. And they'll look at just like some crazy homeless people like taking a dump like on the corner of the BLM protest, and not the other 3,000 people like peacefully waiting in the street.
Yeah.
Or they'll wait until a riot breaks out. Let me tell you a story.
Okay.
When there was a Black Lives Matter protest here in town, you remember how there was a riot?
I do.
You remember that? Buildings got messed up. There were windows broken. There were a number of white supremacists downtown paying homeless people to mess stuff up.
Interesting.
So that the Black Lives Matter protest didn't look good.
Wow. I didn't know.
I lived right there, like on that street, and I saw it. You could see what had happened. It was a peaceful protest, and we have videos of peaceful protesting happening here in downtown Reno. And then there is video evidence of people like walking up to homeless people being like, hey, just like pointing in the direction, here's a bunch of money. And then homeless people just go crazy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a crackhead, I don't care who you hate. I need $20 because I need my crack.
Yeah, $20 is $20.
I'm not gay, but $20 is $20, okay? And that's terrible. And mediums like Fox News, even mediums like CNN, I don't watch CNN that much. To be honest, I watch Fox News more than anything else. Yeah. And you know, keep your friends close, enemies closer. No, I'm joking.
I feel it.
You look at, they only focus on the bad of the other party. And imagine if we had just focused on working together.
Yeah.
Which this is totally something idealistic. But like if CNN and Fox News had just focused on like, okay, well, the Democratic Party wants to take away your whatever the hell, but instead they were like, okay, this is what they want to do, but we'd like to bring it down to this happy medium. Yeah. And then we could argue that out, and then everybody could just relax and
compromise.
Happy. Now here's the problem, is that doesn't sell.
No.
Yeah. Polarization sells. And here's the thing, and I was wondering about this while we were in government today. You're not allowed to say stuff in America that has the tendency to cause illegal action. Is that not just all of our media every day?
Yeah, it is.
You would agree with that statement?
Yeah. I think social media really takes things like further than they need to go and just kind of stirs the pot a lot.
And it stirs it hard.
Yeah. It's not like a light little whisk.
These guys got the whole mixer that they bought at Bed Bath & Beyond tilted in the bucket. It's a bucket from Home Depot too. Yeah. And yeah, they're just stirring the hell out of it. Yeah. Yeah, they got the whole truck. Yeah. Anyways, back to Kyle Rittenhouse. So he lives in Antioch, Illinois, which is just across the border from, let me, hold up. What state did he go into? Anyways, he goes over state lines, right? Yeah. Into a town called Kenosha. So argument on the left, typically on the left of this argument, is that you don't leave your state to go into another state with a gun to help people.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
It really depends on the situation.
Okay, so
that's like that can change
drastically, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's look at the specifics of the situation. His family, he has family members in Kenosha. And what he said he was going to do was to go protect businesses and parts of the city in the area that there were riots. Is he valid in going out and doing that?
Was it like his family's business type deal? No.
He just had family in that town. From what I've read.
Right.
He has family in that town. The businesses did not ask him specifically to go do what he did, though he did say that he had a friend who was asked to go to a business and protect it.
I don't know. I mean, like, I understand that he probably meant well, but at the same time, like, you don't offer advice to somebody who doesn't want it,
Absolutely. Okay.
So I feel like it could kind of be the same thing. Like, if they were asking, like, hey, we want you to protect us, then he was kind of out of line. But if they were like, hey, we really need help, like, could you come help us? Then that would be a different story.
It gives him enough reason to be there? If he was asked.
Yes.
Okay, I kind of agree with that statement. Like, if he was employed by one of those businesses, or if it was a family business,
yeah,
I think he could say that. Now, the next part is before he goes to quote unquote protect people, protect businesses, he gives away his bulletproof vest to his friend.
Okay.
But he keeps the gun. And the reason he does that, and this is a quote straight from him, he said, I don't need it because I'm just going to help people. If you don't need a bulletproof vest, why do you need a gun?
Just in case. That's like, okay, listen. For hunting, we could go scouting. Okay. Not intending to kill any animals, just seeing what's there. But we're going to take a gun with us because what happens if we see a bear? And the bear starts charging us. Like, it's a just in case type thing.
Okay. Why not bring the bulletproof vest instead of the gun?
Because a bulletproof vest isn't guaranteed to save you.
Neither is a gun.
No, but you're more in control with a gun because a bulletproof vest, you just have to hope and pray that, like, that's going to work. With a gun, you're in control.
Okay. So, I kind of agree with that statement. You think that he's valid in choosing a rifle over a bulletproof vest simply because that gives him control over his life, not everybody else control over his life. Yeah, because what if he runs into like a Class A military grade sniper? Yeah. Like, that vest is worth nothing.
And like, let's be real, if you get shot, bulletproof vest covers from here to here. If you get shot in the leg, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're kind of done.
Like, you're gonna sit there and be like, oh fuck.
Okay. Does it change when this is not his gun and he has it illegally?
Yeah, because he shouldn't have a gun illegally.
Yeah, mind you, he's 17.
You can't buy a gun.
We're the same age as Kyle Rittenhouse at the time that he committed this crime. Yes. He's not a man by any means. He just turned 18 before the trial.
So he had the gun while he was 17?
Had the gun while he was 17. It was not his. He illegally possessed this rifle.
Whose was it? Was it
his friend?
His friend? Okay.
I believe... okay. Again, conjecture here. But I believe he traded his rifle for the bulletproof vest. Like, that was the exchange.
Okay. I mean, like, if he was going to help people, I kind of understand and be like, hey, I want to help people. I don't have a gun. And he's like, well, I want to be protected. I don't have a bulletproof vest. It's like, well, I have that. You want to just trade these? Okay, cool.
That brings up the question. Should you be allowed to do illegal things if your intent is correct?
No, because illegal is still illegal. You can't pick and choose with the law.
You can't pick and choose with the law. Okay. So we agree that the gun is illegal. Okay. Here's the last thing I want to talk about. When he's there and there are men presumably going to kill him, he kills them because he feels threatened. And I have no problem with him feeling threatened. The only thing that hurts me in my mind and isn't exactly clear to me, and I don't know because I'm not him and I'm not the people who are dead. If a man shows up to a riot and stuff is going crazy and I just saw him shoot somebody, I don't think there is enough time for me to decide whether or not he's a threat. First guy completely attacked him. Completely went after Kyle Rittenhouse, presuming that. Not that that's what actually happened, but assuming that the first guy attacks Kyle Rittenhouse. The second guy attacks Kyle Rittenhouse because Kyle is now a threat.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say Mr. Rittenhouse. I do not know Kyle, so I should respect him in saying his last name and not his first. Mr. Rittenhouse kills somebody. Is he now not a threat to everybody? Even if it's in self-defense. Because a guy with an AR-15 at a riot is still a guy with an AR-15 at a riot.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'd be, like, keeping him in the corner of my eye because, like, he still has a really big gun and he's in a group of people.
And he just killed somebody. You just watched him kill somebody.
Yeah, but if it was, like, down the line, like, me or him, and that really was self-defense, like, no one's gonna know except for him.
And the person who's dead.
If it was really self-defense. I mean, that's what the ruling was.
The ruling was that it was self-defense.
Yeah.
I'm cool with the first one being self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is questionable to me, and the third one is also questionable because, according to the trial and exact quotes from the people, the third guy, I can't remember his name, the guy who was injured, he wasn't killed. He's the only guy alive from this event. Says that he put his hands up. Kyle agrees. Mr. Rittenhouse agrees that the man was surrendered. And then Rittenhouse re-racks his gun while the guy's in a surrender position. So the man attacks him because he feels like that is a symbol that he's just going to shoot him.
Yeah.
Do you think that's valid? Like if you were surrendering and someone readied their gun to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I would be freaked out, and I wouldn't just be there like, okay.
You wouldn't continue to surrender because you already gave up like, hey, we're cool. And then he was like, oh, nah, son. And then it seemed like he was going to pull the trigger.
I would do the same thing probably. I'd either run the other way or do something about it.
Okay. So out of the charges, you and I, if we were the jury, would get him on the possession of the gun and probably the injuring of the third man.
I think so. I mean, and we don't have all of the information.
We don't have all of the perfect information.
But based on what like we have right now, I would say yes, because that is kind of messed up.
Okay, wonderful. That is excellent. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. Last thing, because we just got through all of the serious stuff. How do you feel about tides in your menstrual cycle? Do you think they're associated and like the moon has any effect on
like the ocean?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Thank you so much. Can I shake your hand? Oh my Lord. Whew. Okay, can I tell you a secret?
Okay.
Okay, this is for every girl who has ever told me that their period was decided by the moon. The moon has less effect on your person than this pencil.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pencil I'm holding right now applies more gravitational force to your body than the moon. You want to know why we have tides?
Why?
The sun.
Really?
Yes. Okay.
You've been thinking about this for a while.
Yes, I want. Okay. Let me give you some scale.
Okay.
You could fit 50 moons in the Earth.
Okay.
You could fit 13.8 billion Earths in the sun.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Which one do you think has more gravitational force on the Earth?
For sure, the sun.
Yeah, we don't orbit the moon, do we?
No.
No, we orbit the sun.
Yeah.
Okay, let me explain to you why tides and the moon happen to link up on occasion. When the moon lines up with the sun, tides are the strongest. Guess why? Because it's amplifying the sun. Oh, yo, you're telling me it's not the moon? That's crazy. What?
I don't see how that could have any effect on your menstrual cycle.
Okay, yeah.
That's hormones. It's not the freaking moon.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Next time you run into somebody who's like, yeah, the moon, just stand your ground. And understand that if you want to argue that the sun is messing with your body, go ahead. But don't give me the moon.
No,
okay?
I think that's so odd. What?
Okay. When we chose the color of the audio files in this podcast, you said that was lavender. What is your favorite color?
White, actually. Like
white? White power. No.
No, like it's very it's like pure white, not eggshell white or anything like that. Like pure white. Like the color of your shirt.
Thank you.
It's very simple and very minimalistic.
Oh, minimalistic. You should have said that when I asked you who are you. That is a good. Wow, very nice. Okay, so your favorite color is white.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. If you end up in the KKK, I know why.
Yeah, I like the uniforms.
Just the uniforms.
Just the uniform. I don't support anything they're in, but like the uniforms.
Yeah, dude, on fleek. So we talked about this before we recorded the podcast. It'll be in the bloopers or whatever. But you said there's no way to know what he was feeling in that moment, other than to get into his mind, and we can't get into his mind.
What are we talking about?
Rittenhouse.
Oh, okay.
There's no way, or even anything else. Like if your kid came home and had some chocolate on their face, and they were like, "But mom, I didn't eat chocolate." Like somebody had chocolate on their hand and rubbed it on my face, right? You'd be like, "Okay, come on, Jimmy."
Yeah. Like, really?
Really? And you wouldn't be able to know whether or not that chocolate really came from somebody else's hand.
Mm-hmm.
Neural net is a technology that Tesla and Elon Musk. Well, Elon Musk, I won't say Tesla, but it's Elon Musk developing this new technology called neural net. And essentially, we can have computers that can interpret your brain signals.
Interesting.
So in the future, what I'm saying, and he went on the Joe Rogan podcast and talked about this, but eventually you wouldn't even have to talk to people.
That's terrifying.
Because I could just look at you and we could have a conversation.
No, I hate that.
You hate that deeply?
I hate that.
Imagine, okay, and here's the thing. This brings up a whole cool, like, biology thing where if humans don't need to talk, we'll just evolve out of having mouths.
No, you still need to eat.
Okay.
You do more things with your mouth than talk.
Very correct. Very true. Very correct. That's how I pay the rent, Shylee. But... okay, imagine if we learned... okay, let's imagine that you had a genetic mutation out of nowhere where you didn't have a mouth, and for some reason, you could eat food in another manner. I don't care, with your ears.
Okay.
We could evolve out of not having mouths. Here's another thing. We eat with our mouths, but we're learning how to install computers in humans. Why can't we just install energy?
Oh, yeah. Well,
right?
Okay,
we
but
could just...
all right, what about this? If you get sick, you get congested, can't breathe through your nose, then what? Are you just going to suffocate?
What if we can just install oxygen? No need to breathe anymore.
No, I don't think you can do that because where's the oxygen going to come from? It has to come from an outside source. Plants.
Plants? Yo, we could just, like, put a straight fan on your head. But all I'm saying is, like, isn't it so cool that technology is changing so quickly?
I think that's awful, honestly.
Like, you think it's awful?
I don't know if I see it as, like, progress, honestly.
You mean, like, in terms of neural net being a benefit?
Yeah, because I feel like that just... it gets rid of, like, human connection, kind of. Okay. I mean, I understand that you're connecting, like, through, like, brain waves or whatever the fuck it is, but...
okay, I think there are people who would be on the complete other side of that argument and say we would be able to interpret each other's thoughts at the very moment of their inception. We wouldn't have a medium. I could legitimately read your mind.
See, but that's the worst part, is because then there's no filter, and I think that would cause a lot of issues. Because you really have to have a filter when you're talking to people, and you have to know your audience.
Absolutely.
I can't just say anything that comes to my mind.
I mean, you really could.
I mean, I could.
In this situation, you could. And probably not advantageous.
That one person we know?
Yeah. You are correct. You are correct. Absolutely.
But I don't know. I feel like that would cause a lot of conflict if you can't control what people know out of your brain.
Facts.
Like, there's a lot of things.
I think you would be able to some extent.
You'd have to be able to, because there's a lot of secrets you have that you don't want people knowing. And
exactly.
There's personal things you don't want everyone knowing around.
Yeah, and I think privacy is worth more than technology. But
I think so,
I'm sure if we can design human brains in computers, then we can design privacy.
I'm sure we could, but then that's still technology, and technology is always flawed.
Cool. I like that. And yeah, that's dope. Okay. We got through that. Oh, last thing we got to talk about. Writing with pens. Luscious.
It is.
Luscious feeling.
Especially the nice pens. You can't get, like, a lame pen. You know, the plastic thin ones.
Yeah.
That have the weird edges. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, and then they also have, like, the freaking cap that's, like, garbage.
Yeah, and that has the hole in it. So it's like, if you swallow it, you're not going to die. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that really what that's for?
Yeah, it's so that if a baby swallows it, they won't die because there's a hole in it so you can still breathe.
That's adorable. That's the best thing. Yo, whoever, yeah, that's kind of nice. Yo, I'm not a baby, but I won't die if I swallow a pen cap now.
But like those pens suck.
They're garbage and they don't write half the time.
No.
And you can't even blow in the end to make them function.
No.
Did you know that that's how you make pens function?
Blow on it?
Yeah, literally. So like you would take the pen out and the gel, like that's why there's a hole in the back of all pen ink so that you can blow in it to push the ink to the end of the pen.
Really, that's not what I have ever done.
Yeah, don't do it because ink tastes gross.
I know.
But I've had to do it a number of times recently because I've been writing with pens a lot and sometimes pens don't work.
Interesting.
Wonderful. Yeah, pens are proper.
My mom used to tell me when I was little that if you put it like under your arm, it'll make it work. And so there I was, like 6 years old, like, God, my pen isn't working.
That's also that makes some sense. Yeah, that makes some sense. I mean, you would heat up the ink, and then the ink would be motivated to move because you excited its molecules.
You only put like the very tip of the pen in.
Well, okay. Well, then you create a pressure vacuum because you heat the air towards the end of the pen, and then there is a vacuum within the pen to push the ink.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm trying to come up with any reason why your mom would have told you this to back her up.
They like to mess with me. You know the emergency brake?
Yeah.
In cars, like where you push the button and pull it up?
Uh-huh.
We had a car like that when I was little. My dad told me it was a turbo button. And we'd be at stoplights, and if we were the first car, he'd be like, okay, press the turbo button, and he would just floor it. And he was like, let go, and I'd let go of it, and he picks his foot up, and I was like, whoa. And I believed it till I was like 12.
So you were 12?
Yeah.
And you didn't notice that he turned the turbo button on every time that he like parked on a hill?
No, he never used it to park on a hill, because we didn't have a hill to park on.
Okay. Here's your opportunity to ask me any question you'd like.
I don't know if I have any questions, really.
Anything silly, anything stupid, anything about politics, anything about anything. You can ask me right now.
What's with the tank tops? It's winter. You wear tank tops every day and it's like winter.
It is hot.
It's cold outside.
It is hot as hell inside.
It is. Okay, not inside the building at school. It is cold as shit.
It is hot.
No, I literally shivered in English class today.
Okay, well, you aren't me. I eat beef. My body operates on a higher temperature, okay? Y'all say 98.6. I say 108.6, okay? That's why I do the tank tops. Also, I don't know, black don't crack. I'm trying to show my skin sometimes. You know what I mean? I just want to show some dudes my shoulders. I gotta pay the rent.
Yeah.
I gotta pay the rent. I ain't gay, but
that's what you did in Vegas.
$20? Exactly. Yo, I had some high rolling clientele, I can tell you that much.
I'm sure.
Anyways, that was super fun. Any more questions? Anything you can think of. I do not care. If it's gross, I'll cut it out and keep it for myself and then listen to it before I go to sleep. No,
right.
I'm just...
No, I don't think I have any.
It has been a wonderful time having you on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.